What's up, everyone? Thank you for tuning into another episode of Love and War. I'm your host, Dr. Francis, and today we are going to be talking about 5 signs saying that you need to work on you before pursuing a relationship. Yes, that is right. 5 signs indicating that you need to work on you before jumping into a relationship. Before we jump into the topic, we are going to do like we always do and say what's up to the panel tonight. First out the gate, Theo Jones. How you doing tonight?
Doing good. The weather is looking like it's changing and it's going to stay this way for a little bit. We was going back and forth every day for a while.
We were.
I'm doing pretty good, just fighting these allergies.
Shout outs to those with the allergies. I was talking to somebody the other day and I was telling them I used to have allergies, but they have like this Loratadine pill. And if you go to like Walmart, it's like the active ingredient is like super small. Take that, you'll be good. It's better than Claritin.
I dodged COVID for a whole year and allergies about
to get. So next out the gate, we're going to say what's up to TW. Tasha, how you doing tonight?
Doing all right. Put the final touches on this event coming up on Saturday, featuring Theo as one of the panelists for the
Let's go.
Let's talk all things men. We're talking about, mental health, masculinity, identity, what it looks like to be a Black man navigating in America. Okay, so if you're gonna come with some coof, right? Because it's the man cave. Don't come with no shenanigans now. Okay, this is gonna be a really good discussion. And we really are highlighting the men. So I'm excited about that. I don't think they get enough space to really be affirmed and share who they are. So excited.
Yes, shout outs to Royalty Refined in the Man Cave. Go ahead and do what you're supposed to do. It's going to be a link in the comments where you can register. Go on, do that. You can go somewhere down here, around there somewhere. Make sure you get to see Theo operate in his element. I'm sure he's going to come with severe bars on every topic that's coming through. And I'm just going to be watching to see what shirt he's going to wear, honestly.
Publicity matters.
Right? Yes. So we was going to say what's up to Showtime, but he just went to a naked emoji.
No, I'm back, baby. Don't play with it. Don't play with it. I'm right here, baby. I'm reporting live from the other side.
Yeah, so what's up? Shout out all the way from T-Mobile.
Hey, we could AKA Trash Mobile, but we in here. You feel me? All I'm saying is, man, God is good all the time.
Yes, how you doing, Show?
I'm happy to be here, man. I will not miss this for the world. Shout out to all our viewers right now. We love you. And guess what? It's playoff time, baby. My Lakers are back. Let's go.
Come on, Lakers, let's go. I'm excited. Well, y'all, we're going to do like we always do and jump just straight up into it. So there's a story for everything. And me and a very close friend of mine were having a discussion the other day about something unrelated to relationships. And then we wondered why people always want to ask relationship-like questions to people who they probably never will get in a relationship with. And, upon thinking, I said, this is a sign that person probably needs to work on them before entering a relationship. So that's why we're discussing it. You always have those folks. I mean, everybody needs to work on them. Like, don't get me wrong. Everybody has something that they need to improve about themselves before pursuing a relationship. But I'm talking about severe indicators that at this current juncture, you're not even capable, competent, or qualified to be pursuing anyone because there are certain things you did not address about you. I'm talking about signs that are glaring for some folks. And we're just going to jump into what those are. So as you're starting to think, we're going to each just reveal a sign and just take a deep dive into it. And I want to start off today because I think one of the things we talk about all the time on this show is piss poor communication. And individuals who they don't have it. The communication is up here in their head. They think it's there. But when they start acting on the actual, action of communicating, it doesn't work for them. So, in your opinion, what are some really horrible communication styles that come to your mind, or lack thereof, that says, you know what, that person isn't ready for a relationship? I'll start with the first one. Someone who can only communicate in one style, text message. Now, I understand the convenience of texting, and I understand that sometimes people overly text. Like, it's typical I've heard from men that women like to send like paragraphs and they just not reading it. They're rather you, if it's going to take all this, just pick up the phone and call. Why are we arguing through text? So in your mind, speak from a personal perspective. What do you think is piss poor communication? I'm gonna start with TW.
An avoider. Someone who knows that there is tension or a disagreement or a misunderstanding and they don't want to talk about it at all. They just kind of ignore it and wait for things to kind of go over a couple of days later and then just kind of pick back up as if nothing happened. So they avoid conflict. They avoid anything that is an opposing view of their own. So that is usually a problem. So someone who's really pessimistic, it's poor communication.
Okay. I'm gonna go to show. Same question. Like, if you could pick a horrible communication issue, what would you say?
The avoiding is a great one, but I also think that delivery is very, very important when you're speaking to someone. A lot of people don't understand their tone. A lot of people don't understand what to say. They don't have the decorum, and they don't know how to say things to people. So when those things all come together, it's an argument. But you also must know the person that you're with as well. So if you don't know that person and how they receive things, then you probably can't communicate with them. So actually having knowledge of the person that you're dealing with, on how they are and how they actually internalize certain situations. So you have to know who you're talking to. Sometimes we only give it to the person based off of how we are and how we feel. Mm-hmm. So if we remove ourselves and and have some type of empathy and think about that person's feelings, sometimes our communication can be a lot better.
Okay. Theo, same question.
I'm gonna go with someone that in conversation doesn't listen. So like they just talk to talk and they're not listening. Like they're going to get their point across, and that's the point that's going to get across. Even if you have a great rebuttal or something like that, or if it's just supposed to be a conversation about what's going on, they're not talking to listen. They're talking to talk. They don't got time to listen to you. I think that's a big thing.
Yeah, and I agree. I mean, I agree with some. What do they say? I hear what you're saying. No, we're not asking. I know you hear me, but you're not listening. You know what
my father used to say, Dr. Francis? One of his things was he said, do you hear me or do you feel me? Hearing a person is one thing, because hearing goes in ear, one out the other. But when you feel someone, it's eternal. So therefore, you want someone to feel you. And Pops had a whole lot of one-liners like that, and that's one of the ones that really like played in my head.
Yes, I get it. And that's why people say, do you feel me? You feel me? You get what I'm saying? Yes. So definitely agree with that. Now, for those who have these horrible communication issues, what do you think stems from that? Because people have challenges, and I feel like sometimes like some of these communication challenges go unnoticed by the individual because they don't take the time to do the self-introspection to figure out, you know what, this is the way I am and it's not really working. Let me work on me. Like, what do you think prevents people from recognizing that they have horrible communication? I'm gonna go with Theo first.
I mean, I think it could be the same thing. They hear you, but they just don't feel you. You know, the Showtime said, like, and like, if you're dealing with someone that thinks they're always right, like you have to do something very dramatic to get their attention. or have an intervention type thing. But I just think they think they're right. Like, and I mean, if they were right, they wouldn't be single.
Jade, TW.
It was the look away for me. I'm screaming. I think
I'm working on that one.
God, I think honestly, it's a learned behavior that they've just been so conditioned to behave like they don't see anything wrong. Those type of people also are very prideful, where they just feel like, oh, this is just who I am, take it or leave it. No, you're toxic is what you are. You need to address it. So I think sometimes when people just are unwilling to be teachable or wanting to change, then it's an even bigger issue than communication. Like, what happened? Because, and when I say learned behavior, I think sometimes, you could have grown up in a household where that's all you saw that was modeled, right? And so you just think that's okay, that's acceptable, or whatever. Or it's just that you've been doing that, type of communication your whole entire life and nobody has checked you about it, And then if somebody did check you, trying to hold you accountable, you now view it as an attack. So yeah, that's where that pride comes in.
Yeah, I think that's true, because, and it goes back to like Theo said, like, people who think they're right oftentimes think that there's nothing wrong with them, and that when there's an issue, it's the other person and not them. So I feel like if you're the type of person who's always right, even when you're wrong, and you're wrong, and you just play this role, well, I know they're right, but I'm going to, with the gift of gab, I'm going to make them feel like they're wrong. You need to stop. Just stop. No. Because one day you're going to meet your match. You will. So we talked about communication. Let's talk about another sign. I'm going to go with TW. What's another sign that's an indicator for someone who probably needs to work on them before getting into a relationship?
This is a pet peeve of ours. We talk about this all the time. But people who refuse to let the past go. And when I'm talking about like past relationships, they carry and harbor that bitterness. They need to get in tune with Elsa and let it go, right? It's just like they just bring on whatever they carry from an old relationship into a new one. And then they just compare that person to whoever they were with, or they're just waiting for something to happen. And so either they try to sabotage it before they get disappointed, if you will. So yeah, people who just cannot separate themselves from old relationships. And, because how can you embrace the new if you're not willing to let go of the old, So yeah.
Showtime.
Give me the question. I apologize.
Yeah. What do you, we're going to go to Theo.
No. Go ahead. What's the question? I'm right there. I'm focused.
No, I wanted you to respond to what Tasha was saying. Just go to Theo.
And I agree. That's like the type of person that's not over their past relationships, that compare somebody all the time. Like, oh, well, you don't put sugar in your grits. My ex put sugar in her grits, things like that. And, you're just comparing, like, you can't let go. Like, you gotta be like I said, you gotta be like Elsa. Let it go, and move on to the next chapter.
Yeah, and for those of the folks that can't let something go, and I'm talking about things that have happened that don't even really mean anything. Like, for example, I remember, like I was mentioning in the last show, that somebody's wife was mad that the husband had left the toilet seat up and she had tried to go to the bathroom at night, but it had happened like years ago. And like once, it wasn't like you fell in the toilet every night. It happened one time, but they keep bringing it up. Like she goes into the bathroom, see the toilet seat up. Not even, you got the toilet seat up. I fell in it. This happened years ago, man. Let it go. And then you have some people who are, now don't get me wrong, there there are certain things that can happen in a relationship that can be so traumatic or detrimental that maybe at this point you couldn't let it go because you haven't healed past it. And I'm talking about people who bring in, baggage from relationships that have happened with other people that they're dragging into this other relationship. And as soon as they see a sign that reminds them of something they've gone through with somebody else, they bring it up. So there can always be that inverse where the new person you're with is so sick and tired of hearing about the crap that you had to put up with. Like, you're not with that person anymore. Stop bringing it up. And if you are bringing it up, just a word of advice to those who are maybe dating that person who can't let something go from another relationship. That's a sign that they haven't healed from it. And sometimes, depending on what that situation is, may require counseling or therapy for you to actually be able to move past it. But you know what they say, the first step to treatment or sobriety is recognizing that you have a problem. Showtime. What do you think about people who cannot let the past go?
I say you need to run for the border because it's going to be an ongoing issue forever. I really believe that letting go is always soothing and good for the soul. So carrying on any type of stress, any type of burden can always pose a problem in any situation, in any type of relationship. So sometimes, like, you recommend therapy, but therapy has to stop looking in our community. It has to stop. People have to stop thinking like you're crazy or it's not good for you. Get the help that you need. And if the person loves you and they want to put forth the effort, don't think they offend you when they say you should go to therapy or recommend that we should go to therapy. I think we should go to therapy is always better than putting it off on someone else, because that way together you all can understand each other and you can understand where and why certain triggers happen, because it can just be a trigger sometimes why a person can't let go of the past. It could be some childhood trauma. So you have to dig deeper than what you just see surface wise. So it can help. It can be cured with a quick fix. But like you said, you have to acknowledge that you first have a problem and then you can move on from there.
Right. True. So so we talked about communication, piss poor communication. We talked about refusing to let go of the past. Theo, what is a sign for someone who should probably work on them before going into a relationship?
I had a bunch of different things, which one I wanted to choose, but I'm going to go with something we don't talk about a lot, is that you care what your friends think about too much. You care what your boy thinks, like, oh, they might not think she's hot, pretty enough, bad enough. You care what your girls think. Oh, he's not on your level. Like, I'm sure Michelle Obama's girls, when she got in his car that had the hole in the floor,
right?
I'm sure there was a couple of her girls was like, girl, like, no. I'm sure Aisha Curry, I'm sure some of her girls said, bro, he's 6'2", skinny. He's not really going to make it in the NBA. You need to leave him and get somebody else. And I'm sure there's a bunch of stories like that where friends and guys, some girls have glow ups. What's her name? Diana Ross's daughter, Tracy Ellis Ross. You look at younger pictures of Tracy. Tracy wasn't where she at now. She's somewhere else. That's that money looking good on her. But you might have been scared what your boy said, like, oh, she not even bad, or what you used to like. But you got to get out of your mind with your friends and family, your mom and dad too, what they think. You got to be your own person.
Very important. And I always had this thought in my head, because I care about what people think. I'm one of those people, not gonna lie, but I'm not like to the point where I'm going to alter my whole life because of it. Because you know how some people, they care, but they'll still, do what they want to do. Maybe they'll say, all right, I'm gonna still date the person, but we're gonna be on the low. Until I can get you up to the status that you're supposed to be. You got some people like that. But then you have some people who literally dodge the opportunity because they care so much what people think. Like, they're not even going to chart down that path, and they were about to until somebody said, no, yo, that's not even you. Oh, it's not? All right.
Yeah, I just thought about somebody just blowing up kind of right now, type two people. But like Kevin on stage, like he got fired, he didn't have no job, and like Miss Kevin on stage, she be talking, she be like, my friend said you need to leave him. He don't got no job. He trying to be an actor and make this money. Move like that's not going to happen. And Lord and behold, it's what 5-10 years, but now he doing his thing. So
Back then they didn't want me.
you
Now
right.
hot they all on.
You can't listen to your friends and family all the time. Do you? What they say? Do you, boo? Is that what they say? Is that
Yeah, do you, boo? That's how you gotta say it like that, and you gotta have a hand snatch with it, like. Yeah. Show.
Hey, Theo, don't do that shit no more. Don't do that. Don't do that. It's off limits.
I was following through for the Lakers.
Oh yeah, there we go.
Bow.
Yeah, what's up?
So, what do you think, Show, about people who care too much about what their friends have to say?
Stop watching Instagram. Stop trying to chase the status quo. Everybody can't be Theo and be a Jones, so stop trying to keep up.
Oh.
Because at the end of the day, you have to do what's good for you. You have to do what's comfortable for you, what you like, and you just can't worry about others and outside entities when you're trying to build something. Everyone isn't always going to see your vision, and your vision is your vision for a reason. So worry about what you think, worry about how you feel, and most importantly, how that person makes you feel. Some people my cousin, he married an exotic dancer, and you know my family, how prestigious they are, and you know how they look at people, very judgmental. And she was an exotic dancer because she was working herself through nurse practitioner school, and she ended up doing it. And now you have a nurse practitioner. And I'm not gonna say what my cousin is because it'll be a dead giveaway.
Right.
They are doing it up. He had a vision. Now, you never know what a person's lifestyle is. You never know why a person's doing it. But when you introduce somebody, yeah, she worked at Norma Jeans. Not saying she did, but she works here. You know what I'm saying? She worked at Blue Flame. Let's just say something else. So therefore, people will judge her based off of that. And once they judge her based off of that, now they want to know why do you choose her? Fuck right there. I'm sorry, I'm giving directions. I'm giving my brother directions. So at the end of the day, you have to worry about what's good for you. And now they are looking like the it couple because he had a vision. Everybody wanted to say something, auntie this, auntie that, but he had a vision. And now they living better than everybody else. So worry about how you feel and how you see your mate.
Okay. TW.
Let me tell you, my youngest niece used to always say this. I mean, she was like 2-3 years old, and we like, where did she get this from? She used to tell everybody, worry about yourself. Okay. Let me tell you something.
She got that from somebody's grandmother. That sounds like somebody's grandmother. Worry about yourself.
But seriously, I think, when that level of caring about what other people think now becomes a part of you consuming what they think, then it's really problematic, because a lot of times we get so caught up and consumed with how other people may view us, what they think, and all of that. Here's my thing. Your input is not necessary. Your unsolicited advice is not necessary when I'm the person who has to live with whatever decision I make. And I say that all the time. Like, people always feel like they Dr. Phil and this, that, and the other, but do a personal inventory on what your life look like and what you got going on. Because honestly, a lot of people who feel like they need to be intrusive and give so much of their opinion on matters that don't have anything to do with them is because they're trying to deflect whatever issue they got going on that they don't want to deal with. And so I always look at that. You got to be careful, especially if it's the same person who always got their opinion in something. It's kind of like, why? Why are you so concerned with what I got going on? What you got going on, right? Because people who actually are being productive, they don't really care. It doesn't really matter to them. Like, if it doesn't directly impact them, it doesn't matter. And so I just think people really need to stop. And my thing is, don't go to people who have not succeeded in nothing. So for people who sitting up here telling you who to date and what date, and they still trying to figure out who they are, no, thank you. Keep your comments to yourself. Keep your opinions to yourself. Because no one's checking for them.
Exactly. We're almost out of time. We're going to go to Showtime. and then we're going to do final words of advice. Showtime. We talked about communication. We talked about, living in the past. We talked about caring too much about what your friends think. What is a sign that you believe is a clear indicator that this person is not ready for a relationship?
I've dealt with this. A woman that is not ready to accept and move on from her past trauma and hurt. A woman that always wants to look at you as if you were the last instead of being the first. Sometimes past trauma can keep you from moving on, men as well. We've been hurt as well. So at the end of the day, when a person is showing me the signs that, oh, well, I'm not ready for this because my last boyfriend did this, or a brother saying I'm not used because the last sister cheated on me, or sometimes you have to remove yourself from that and realize and say, only way you can move forward on something is by letting go of your past. If you keep looking backwards at what was, you never will know what is. So you got to keep moving forward. So that's, for me, is a true indicator that a person isn't ready for a relationship, holding on to too many links and situations from before.
Mm-hmm. And you know what? I mean, I could see that in two different ways. I guess it depends on the situation, because you do have some folks who they were in a relationship with X and the X is their friend now. That could cause an issue. And then you have Erykah Badu used to sing the song, "Bag a Lady, You've Got Too Much Stuff." You can't be dragging on a bag from the past into the new relationship. And then sometimes you have habitual baggage. That's what I'm going to call it. Bringing baggage from the past into the new relationship. Why, TW, why you think people do that? Why can't they leave the bags at the door?
So it looks like me and Showtime are Virgo vibing here. Because remember I said that too about the Elsa, let it go. But I honestly think it's two parts. Some people are not willing to let go of the past because they like the attention. Some people just like drama in their lives. Unfortunately, I know a few. And so it's just like, oh, if I could keep the momentum going in my life, if I could just continue to be involved in all of this and all of that, because they're not getting attention elsewhere. So they're trying to find whatever way they can get it. So if drama is the indicator to get the attention you're looking for, okay. That's one area. Then you have other people who are just unwilling to get uncomfortable, because being honest with yourself, being vulnerable, it causes a level of being uncomfortable. And nobody really wants to do that. People just like to put Band-Aids on things instead of really addressing the root of the problem. And so unfortunately, you're going to continue to be in dead end relationships because you don't really know how to connect with people. You don't really know how to engage with people in a healthy way. You're just so accustomed to doing things one-sided. And that's because you're not willing to take ownership of how you're behaving. And so, like we always say, hey, schedule an appointment. Schedule an appointment, because after a while, you're eventually going to get tired of getting the same results because you keep doing the same thing. So,
Thea, why can't people leave the baggage where it belongs?
I'm gonna take it here because they feel like people like looking at their designer bags. If you got people always trying to help you out with your bags, you got doormen, you got doorwomen always ask, can I hold this one for you? Can I take this one for you? That how Tasha said, they just want the attention. They want that attention, and they like that people are always trying to help them with their baggage. And that's what they got. They got Fendi, but the F is backwards. Okay, you got feet backwards. All right.
They got that Chinatown.
So they just need to drop the baggage off. You'll be lighter. You feel good about yourself. But I think that's the thing. They just like that attention.
All right, y'all. So I'm going to wrap it up with the fifth one. And the fifth one is going to be individuals who are only pursuing the relationship to live up to someone else's dream and expectation. And I am talking about, this happens oftentimes in the faith-based world, where you have, your parents or your congregation who wants to arrange marriage you. And instead of you searching for the love on your own, you're with someone because someone told you you should be. That is the fifth sign that you should probably not be in a relationship because you don't have a mind of your own. Now, instead of going around the room on this one, I want us to offer a word of advice for this particular one because we kind of inserted advice in the other ones as we were discussing. But this one is very interesting because it doesn't really come off to be a glaring sign that you aren't ready for a relationship because you're in one, but you're in it with the wrong person. You're in it with the person that someone else told you should be in, and you suffered through it just to make somebody else happy. I see this a lot of time with women trying to please their dads, particularly people who are of a higher status, who maybe, or their parents are maybe some big time politicians or judges or lawyers, or maybe they're just well known in the community for philanthropic things. I mean, like you got the Bill and Melinda Gates status type folks, and even celebrities. Like, celebrities fall into a different kind of category because, like, just imagine if some really big time person just wanted to date a regular Joe Blow. They're going to hear a lot of flack from the industry. Oh, you need a partner. You need to be dating this person. You need to be dating this person because they can help blow up your career. Blah, 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 blah. If you are in a relationship because someone else told you should be with that person, deep down inside, that's not who you want to be with. You aren't ready for a relationship because you can't even make up your own mind. Now, let's give our final words of advice for that individual because it's so difficult. And I'm going to start with Theo.
For that, I think it's a real quick thing. The phrase that says, "What you eat don't make me go to bed." Yeah, I mean, don't worry about what other people do, or say. I mean, that don't got nothing to do with me. If that's who you go marry that person. That's who you want. Yeah, I think you might be mad because your wife or husband's not that person. Like, you need to file the paperwork and get with that person. But yeah, that's my advice for that. I just want to say real quick, people know how to have fun by yourself. I think that's a big thing. I think everybody needs to do this at least once in their life. Take a vacation by yourself.
Yeah.
And have fun. Like, just go. And if you know how to have fun by yourself, then you don't be good. Everything else could be worked out by a counselor, Tasha. But everything else can be worked out by a counselor. Learn how to have fun by yourself, go on vacation by yourself, and have fun. And if you do it and you're bored and you're over there talking about, I wish someone was holding me and all this stuff, you're not ready. Just get over it.
Yeah, and to your point, I take a vacation by myself at least once a year. I typically go on my birthday, me time. People are like, I can't believe you travel out the country by yourself. Let me tell you, it's so stress-free because I don't have to worry about folks who ain't trying to spend money on an experience that I'm willing to spend. TW. Final words of advice for those who like arranged marriage. They don't like it. They're indulging in it and they're suffering silently.
I'm a firm believer that misery loves company. And so oftentimes when people are trying to force or provoke their belief on you, it's because they had to experience that and they're unhappy. So they just want to project that onto somebody else. And I think this is where wisdom is the principal thing. We're going back to the good book, Proverbs. If you really are someone who is a Christ follower and you really believe in what the word is saying, then you need to apply those scriptures to your life. What is the Holy Spirit saying? Not these people, just because they're your pastor. So they human like we are. They flawed like we are. They put the clothes on the way we do. You know what I'm saying? So if you're using what they have to say to overrule what God is telling you, because you can discern if somebody is not it for you. And so my thing is, as I said, misery loves company. So if you're just trying to seek the approval of these people, instead of pleasing the audience of one, because if you are a believer, at the end of the day, you live to please him. So my thing is, if you just want to continue to follow behind their shadows and do whatever, and you just want to continue to subject yourself to that, then you have to deal with the consequences because you're not willing to take the risk to do what's beneficial for you. Take the risk, leave. You're unhappy, you're miserable.
All right. And you know who we giving the finale to. Come on, show. Close us out. Show time. Final words of advice.
This is two-part. I'm gonna answer that, but I'm gonna close with something else. Only you know what's best for you. You cannot never allow outside influences to influence you on what is best for you. You can always listen, take sound advice, and move in that direction, but there's no need to sign up for anything that will have you miserable for the rest of your life. That's in closing with that. But to talk about how people like to say what's good for you and go against what it is that you want. My father had a saying, you know, y'all been on the show long. If you've been following us, you know, I always bring in his quotes. He who judges doesn't matter, and he who matters doesn't judge. So that's one of the creeds I live by. And when you think about that, it's very simplistic, but it puts in proper perspective on who is actually giving you advice. Because if you're happy, you can say, look, like for instance, my mother married a dude that I wasn't approving of, but that's her life. I support you. I don't believe in it, but I'll be there to be your safety net or whenever you need me. And that's what people have to understand. Love certain things from a distance and respect yourself more than another person's opinion.
Love that. So y'all, that's all we have for you tonight. Thank you for tuning into another episode of Love of War. You can do like you always do, catch the archive shows on our website, www.dearchrissy.com. That's DearCrissi. You can head on over to Spotify, to Google Podcasts, to Apple, anywhere where there's a podcast link to find the Love and War Show. Like us right here on YouTube. Share it, put the link. We'll have a link in the comments for you to go directly to the website. We'll have a link in the comments for you to register for the Royalty Refined Man Cave event. We'll also have a link in the comments to support our man Theo, and get you a shirt. Get you a shirt from Good Vibes Clothing. If you don't know what that is, Google it. They're on Instagram. They're also giving out gift cards. Well, not giving them out, but you can get a gift card for someone else. So if you like those shirts that you see, support our folks here. Well, that's all we have for you tonight. You're going to catch us. Our season finale will be next Monday right here on YouTube Live. And then we're going on our hiatus for the summer, and you'll catch us back in the fall, hopefully with the Colorcast Network.